WKHM, WKHM.com, Thinking Real Estate.
Are you having a bad hair day, or is it
No,
cold in here?
It's cold in here.
Oh, I think it's comfy. What about you?
It's been worse, I'll say that.
No, that's fine.
It's cold outside. Whew. I'm a little tired
Yeah,
of
it's
that.
only 17, 18 degrees.
Right, so can I give the initial shout outs here?
Oh.
Do you have a shout out
I
today?
do. I have Troy Ganton at Arbor Woods, who I saw at Starbucks this morning. I told him he better be listening this morning. And the other one is to Bonnie Tripp at the resale station. I think that's the name of it. Out on Wildwood. I see her in Starbucks in the morning as well. So hopefully they're both listening, and they'll be able to see me tomorrow morning and say, hey, thanks for the shout out.
The resale station?
Resale station. This is
Okay.
Phil Tripp's. They have one on Wildwood and one down by the
Oh.
railway station.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Handling secondhand goods and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
I think it's a resale depot.
Resale depot. You're right, not resale
Even
station.
though it's
Resale
not,
depot.
the one on Wildwood is not at a train track.
Right, it's not, but it's
That's
called
not- it's
resale
not too
depot.
far,
You're
though.
correct. I
A
was
couple
wrong.
blocks away.
Bonnie told me this morning, and I forgot. It's a problem with getting older.
Is Bonnie listening?
She said she would. She'd try.
She said she'd try.
Yeah, she's this gorgeous woman, dressed absolutely spectacular every morning. She's positively gorgeous, and I say hello to her, and she's on the go, and so I just thought I'd give her a shout out.
Well, there you go.
Troy's not as gorgeous looking, but he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Tanya Neal each week sends me a notice as to how much money's left in the grant, the home buyer assistant fund that's out there. So if you close on a home, and you've never owned a home in the last 3 years, if you haven't owned a home in the last 3 years, you'll get $3,000 just for buying a house.
Why do we do that?
That is
Even if you don't need it.
yeah, that's the only qualification. You can make $1 million a year, and you close on a home and you haven't owned a home in the last 3 years, you'll get $3,000.
But your point is a good one, because the market is back. Just an article this morning, I'm trying to recall which publication I was reading online this morning, but Laura said this before, but there is more demand currently for existing housing, for new housing, than there has been for a long time. And the article this morning was remarking on how new home builders have been sort of caught short by virtue of the demand, that they cannot keep up with the demand right now. Same is true of existing housing. So I'm not sure the incentive program was put in place.
Shouldn't there be a qualifier?
Well,
I mean,
the
like
qualifier
you said,
is
first
that
home.
you haven't
First
owned a
home.
home in the last 3 years.
but if you're a trillionaire,
if you're a trillionaire,
You get
you
$3,000?
qualify, yeah.
If you're a trillionaire, you're not going to waste your time with all the
I
forms,
understand
et
that.
cetera.
Well, you might. You might be really frugal. That's why you're a trillionaire. What can I say?
let's
I
just
don't
say
know.
if you're a paltry millionaire.
Right.
Well, then you might need the money.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Okay, so anyhow, that money is a result of the Attorney General's lawsuit against the big 5 banks, and then a few other banks were added into that lawsuit. And this is part of the money that Michigan received and how they're choosing to disperse it.
All right, I'm going to switch gears on you entirely.
No.
Just a quick mention before you do it, because one of the issues in Jackson County, northern Jackson County, is the new Enbridge pipeline going through.
Yeah.
The expansion of the easements and all the stuff that's going on up there. So if there are people listening who, in fact, are involved in that, that is something that's happening, and it's happening very, very quickly. This has nothing to do with
So
oil and
quickly
gas.
that you had to interrupt me?
Oil and gas, but it's new, and they're trying to get that pipeline up and operational by April 1, which is right around the corner. I don't know if that's going to happen, but there's a new 6B line, and this is the expansion of what's called the 79 line.
Well, we'll finish that when I just tell people how much money's left in that fund.
You know, if it stands to reason that most of the people would need that money if they
Right.
are first-time home buyers.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I just wrote a deal yesterday that, I mean, he needs that money. If you need the money, though, you better write a deal now, because there's only 4.7 million left, and last week it was 6.3 million.
So it's going fast.
Going fast, and I think at this point you have to write an offer now in order for the money to be there when you close. Because if it's not there when you close, you don't get it. Period. It's gone. Once it's gone, it's gone.
And you're not going to get this automatically, right?
once you get all pre-approved or ready to close, your lender applies for it.
Okay, so
And
your
if
lender
there's
should,
money-
your lender should know?
Well, the lenders aren't gonna know, they can't guarantee.
Well,
at
who's
this
gonna
point-
know?
At this point in time, I don't think a lender can guarantee that the buyer will get the money if they start the process right now. Cause we only have 4.7 million left, and that's for the whole state,
Okay,
so, anyhow.
but I guess my question is the lender the one that alerts the buyer?
Yes.
Hey, this 3,000 is available, or is it?
Well,
your-
yeah, I mean, it's a combination between the realtor and the lender,
Okay.
but the lender has the lender is the only one who can apply for it. I
Okay.
can't apply for it, I have no control over that.
Right.
But
And
to
you
answer
have
your
to go
question, the
through-
lender's not raising it, it's the realtor that has to raise it. The realtor that has to inform the buyer that this is available. I doubt
Or
that the
should.
lender, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
All
doubt
right.
that the lenders are letting them know, and some lenders may not even be that familiar with the
Right.
program.
Right.
Well,
That was
I
my
don't know, in
que-
our area, our lenders certainly know about it,
Okay.
so. And Mortgage One, who Tanya works for, is actually, I think, the leader in applying for it, so.
But again, you want to build that into your purchase agreement,
Right.
so by the time you get to the lender, even if the lender does know about it, it's too late. You know, you want to take this into account at the time you consider
Yeah, and if
making
you
an offer.
absolutely have to have that for closing, I don't know, it's gonna be tough at this point in time.
Right.
So if I'm a seller, if I'm representing a seller, that's one of the questions I'm gonna ask, if it's contingent on the buyer getting that $3,000, the purchase agreement, I'm gonna ask them if they have to have it. Because at this point, I don't want my property held up, especially with a shortage of properties on the market, because the buyer needs the $3,000 and it's not there when we get to closing. So, interesting dilemma.
But it should
Always
be
a
if
twist.
you're doing something in the near future.
If you're closing, probably
Soon.
if you're going to close in March, it will be there. If you're
Yeah.
going to close in April, sometime in April it will be gone.
Probably.
I don't.
Okay.
That's just a prediction. I can't guarantee that. And that's why it's one more reason you need a really good realtor on your side.
That's right.
So call me.
Very good.
780-3800.
And sorry I tried to change the subject
I
so
know, you
quickly.
tried.
All right, well, so what are we talking about today? What is on your agenda?
Well, I'm kind of interested
What are
in
you
what
gonna-
you
what are you
threw
gonna
out
surprise me
there.
with?
What is that?
No, the only reason I mention is because it's such a hot issue for a certain segment of the people you're dealing with, and that is Enbridge is doing this. It's a $190 million
Well, tell me what
project.
Enbridge is.
Enbridge is
The oil
a,
company.
is a
Enbridge.
well, it's actually a pipeline company. Enbridge
Okay.
does not produce.
Right.
Enbridge simply owns a pipeline and then leases or
Right.
transports the oil and natural gas.
And you know this how?
I've got some clients who are going through this right now, and we're working with the lawyers on the other side.
And it's where?
Northern part of Jackson County, and the line, actually the main line goes from southwest to northeast, and then the spur of 6B line is 38 miles, I think, from up near Stockbridge, running southeast down toward
Just
Toledo, down toward Detroit and Toledo, to provide additional supply to the refineries in both places.
so are they trying to get easements so they can put the pipeline in?
Part of it is they already have easements, but they need to expand the easement in certain places. In other places, they don't have the easement, so they are going for the easement, and they're negotiating with property owners at the present time. If they can't reach an agreement with the property owner, Enbridge does have the right to condemn the property under the Uniform Condemnation Procedures Act here in Michigan. So ultimately, the easement's going to be granted. The issue is how much is the landowner going to be paid for the value of that easement and for the damages to the woods, to the property, etc., and then the restoration of the property.
So
once
it's
in.
not following along the road necessarily?
Oh,
It might
not
go
at all.
in the middle? Okay.
Not even close.
All right.
Not
Bill
even close.
Bill would describe Enbridge as the at-fault company for the
I-
oil spill over in Kalamazoo.
I would not describe them as the effort. We know that the spill over in Marshall was an Enbridge pipeline. They've admitted the fault, etc. I mean, actually, Enbridge, I'll say this, and the lawyers on the other side up in Lansing are very, very good. Enbridge, I think, is doing or trying to do the best thing in terms of taking care of the property owners. This is not really an adversarial proceeding. It's just one in which you have to have knowledge on both sides as to what's reasonable and what's not. As a landowner, you can't be greedy, but on the other hand, you do want to make sure you get fairly compensated for what it is
I would
you're
say
giving
not
up.
all landowners over there are happy.
There's no doubt about that. There's huge controversy over the pipeline itself and the environmental concerns of having a pipeline across your property.
Now, they are
all
the
that sort of
fault
stuff.
company?
Look, I'm not involved in the Enbridge.
Boy, you are
I'm
really-
not-
what
I'm
a
not-
reporter
I'm
you
not
are.
Well,
involved.
I'm interested in what Bill said.
I do a lot of environmental work. I do
Yeah.
a lot of contamination work. That is one I'm
I'm not trying to
involved
put any
in.
words in your mouth.
Well, and as a
Oh.
lawyer, I'm very careful about what I say in terms of ascribing fault to somebody. Now,
Right.
if I was representing a landowner over in Marshall, I would probably be vociferously attacking whoever it was that I claimed was responsible, but I'm not involved in that. My
Okay.
understanding is that line is being abandoned. It's being abandoned in situ or in place. Will be filled probably with inert gas, nitrogen or something like that, and then under pressure and then monitored to make sure that it does not. I don't know. I don't know.
You know,
enough
they were
about-
recently called back in
Yeah, I know they were.
to pull out another.
Yeah, and
think
I know
100,000
that they were,
gallons
and I
of
do a
oil.
lot of work with the DEQ, with the Water Resources Division. Matter of fact, I've got a meeting.
I just wanted
with
to
them.
update you.
Okay, thanks a lot. Okay, but I've got a meeting with the Water Resources Division on another case. Meeting is in Lansing on Monday with a whole bunch of people.
So if someone has questions on this, should they call you or?
Call a lawyer. Call somebody that's familiar with.
Well, you're a
oil and
lawyer.
gas.
For goodness sake.
I'm
He
not
is.
sitting here soliciting business, but what I'm saying to
Well, you
the
can.
people who are up there and talk to your neighbors. The most important thing you can do is talk to your neighbors to find out what in fact they've been offered by Enbridge, and there's a reasonable amount that's being agreed upon in most circumstances. And if you don't get an agreement with them, you'll get a GFO, a good faith offer under the Condemnation Act, and then you'll be in the condemnation proceedings. So, if you're a property owner in that area, and this is where the request
I would
has been
assume
made.
having,
Well, I had one on that did not feel that, and she had a business right over in that area
Okay.
that did not feel that they were made whole by the.
but I mean, you're doing an easement across the property. It's not like you can't use the property on top of it. Is that correct?
Well,
I mean, how deep
no,
are
I'm
the
talking
pipes?
No,
about the
you're
oil
but
spill.
you're restricted. You can't build over that easement. You now are deprived of the surface use
But
of
if
that
I'm
property.
a farmer, you're talking about Starkbridge, which is a lot of farmland out there.
Yeah,
so
right.
Can I farm over it?
Yes.
Can I plant
Yes.
crops?
Yeah, but your crops are going to be destroyed while they're actually installing the pipeline. You may
But I
have a
meant once
work
it's
area.
in. I meant once it's in.
Once it's in, you'll be able to plant crops, etc. Then again, they may have surface facilities on a portion of your property in the easement where they need an access point. And I understand that landowners who are affected by the easement just need to get good quality legal advice to be able to deal with Enbridge. Enbridge knows this, and in most circumstances, Enbridge will even end up paying for the legal fees incurred by the landowner. Again, Enbridge isn't going to give away the farm, but rightly so. It's a for-profit company. On the other hand, landowners should be fairly compensated, but they got to realize they can't be greedy about what's going on. And I'm going a little
And
bit
that's
deeper
true.
into this subject
And
than I
that's
thought
true
I
in
would do here
anything,
today.
whether MDOT's expanding a roadway or what have you. So,
True, and
Well, it's all
It's all relative.
a measure of fair compensation.
Right.
that's exactly right. That's exactly right. And on my cases, I bring in an appraiser, I bring in a forester if I've got heavily wooded land to determine the value. They've got an arborist that they value the wooded area. They have appraisers. Matter of fact, I had a meeting with an appraiser a little over a week ago up in Lansing who's doing a bunch of Enbridge work. So, it's a question of just determining what that fair number may be.
Okay.
I'm sorry to do that. So what are we actually talking
Topic
about
of the
today
day.
in the 5
Do we have
minutes
time?
left?
For gosh sake, are we going to spill over into Mark Daly's time?
No,
Oh my god! Oh, you
That's
guys
why
are
you-
really adamant about that.
that's why you
aren't
better hurry.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, last week we got.
We have guidelines.
Yeah, apparently.
On
You
this
guys are
sta-
so
On
strict.
this station, we have guidelines.
Wow.
That's one of them.
I've tried to introduce out of the box thinking here, and it's tough.
Could one of the
Just tough.
guidelines be that she's not allowed to wear these glasses anymore? This is the
I get a lot of
third-
compliments
This
on
is the
these
third week in a
glasses.
row she's worn those glasses.
I think it's longer.
Yeah, that's fine.
Fourth
You can wear
week.
those.
Thank you. I don't know.
They
I get a
fit
lot
you
of
for some
compliments.
reason.
Yeah, thank you.
They are you, Laura.
They're orange and green and purple.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, so enough about the glasses. What?
Anyhow, okay, so we were on a
Roll.
path to talk about the 7 life transitions families go through, in real estate
Well, you
related.
better
I'm
hurry.
looking forward to death right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, so am I. Oh, oops. Anyhow, so the next transition is remarriage and blending families. So how would remarry?
Wait a
you
second.
and I,
Wait a second. Why would somebody get remarried? That's the
I
first
don't-
order of
you did
business,
it.
guy.
You did it. And we blended families.
Yeah, that's fun.
It is. Oh, yes, it is.
At least Jackie came out of that process all right.
I don't see her
Out,
smiling.
we-
out of 6 kids, she came out okay.
yeah.
Yeah, now she's smiling.
Okay.
Well, so remarriage and blended family, if I'm buying real estate with my new husband, or even with someone I plan to marry, and we buy a house, what pitfalls do I need to watch out for? And
You're kidding,
children,
other than
I
the
mean,
normal
come on, and
ones in a
children, we
marriage?
may not be able to get
Wow.
this done.
Wow, that's
did
an
you
open
say?
ended
Yeah, the
question.
pitfalls
I
in a marriage. You want to talk about the real estate
No,
ones?
real estate. This is a lifestyle and real
I know.
estate
So which
show.
are we doing, lifestyle or real estate?
Well, they go together in
Real
this.
estate.
Okay,
We're
real
blending.
estate.
We're blending the two.
Prenup.
Prenup.
In your 2 minutes that you have left.
I
Yeah,
know.
this
Maybe
is
this
an-
might have to roll into
this
the
is an
next. Can we
easy
do
one.
that? Can we roll it in? Should we roll it into next week?
Yeah.
Well, you're going to have to.
Yeah.
But a prenuptial agreement is what you want to do because most people who are getting remarried and blending families don't understand what the law of descent and distribution is. Even with a will, you're going to end up having to do a joint mutual will or setting up trusts so that the children of the surviving spouse are protected against the vagaries of that surviving spouse. In other words, I'm just a couple years older than Laura, and
Couple.
I got a,
Wow.
I got a.
And you're a member of the Silver Sneakers with the YMCA.
That's exactly
and
right.
I am not.
I'm older than dirt, okay? And so the odds are, although with my healthy lifestyle, I probably will outlive her. But let's assume for the moment that the actuarial tables actually apply, and I will die first. I've got to make certain that she doesn't favor her children over my children with respect to the distribution of what are currently our joint assets, which likely will become her individual assets later on.
So that would be handled in a prenuptial?
That would actually be handled in an estate plan, but the prenup
Right.
would handle what's is going to address what will happen upon death or divorce or separation. But right now, I'm simply, because the cost of divorcing Laura would be way too great, I'm looking more at death as the
I told him
eventual
that he
outcome
could
here.
have the house in Tawas.
So anyway, the
the
point being that it's the estate plan that has to be developed in order to protect the deceased spouse, children, or whoever it may be. But we can address that next week.
All right, I'm putting part 1 on my agenda that we started at.
Very good.
We're
Are you selling any
Teasing.
homes?
Yeah, we got buyers. I need listings. I mean, come on, people, call me 780-3800. I'd love to talk to you about listing your property. Okay, so I have a new listing, but I have an offer on it already.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah, 1105 East Kimmel, which is a very cool tri-level. First impression from the road isn't amazing, but it's huge rooms on the inside, nicely done. 3 bedrooms, 1.5 bath, huge garage that you could probably put, I don't know, at least 3 cars in, with storage. And that's close to the corner of South Jackson and Kimmel. And then, that's listed for $139,900. So take a look, put in a backup offer, you never know. And then we have open houses this weekend. We are starting open houses again. And 1 to 2:30, both of them. 405 Seneca. It's a really nice, solid built ranch that's 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, 1372 square feet, full basement, enclosed porch, 94.9. It is a nice, solid house. You can move right into that one. Hardwood floors. And then 4328 Clinton. We have that listed at $199,900. It's a 3 bedroom, 2 full baths, 1588 square feet. It's a log home that has just got an awesome open floor plan, some very cool log features to it, and it's got a great little outbuilding that you could go read a book in. You could put maybe some heat in there, and that could be Bill's new home.
Wow.
I'm not
No.
listening.
Okay.
No, that's a very, very nice house. Backs up to land that probably will never be developed, nice and private, and it's convenient, right at 4328 Clinton Road.
Call this number.
Yes, and some of my council members are having neighborhood meetings coming up, so look for those, because it's important to talk about the issues of the city.
Call this
I
number.
think he wants you to give the number.
780-3800, 780-3800.